CNN Philippines in the news. A former health secretary is under fire for allegedly colluding with the maker of the dengue vaccine, Dengvaxia. President Rodrigo Duterte reveals he is axing an entire commission for alleged corruption. And take a look at this giant mosaic, believe it or not, that's made out of rice cakes or puto, and it's vying for a Guinness World Record. The Duterte government is bent on stamping out corruption. In an event yesterday, at the Labor Department's anniversary, President Duterte said he will fire an entire commission next. It's unclear what commission this is, but he says he believes all its members should be fired for corruption.
Now on Monday, I will fire about one commission mismo. Lahat sila ay wala pakialam kung nakisali lahat o dalawa tatlo. You have to go out. Because I do not think that it will exist without your knowledge.
The president has fired other officials before, among them Dangerous Drugs Board Chairman Benjamin Reyes, Cabinet Undersecretary Maya Valdez, and Sugar Regulatory Administration Chief Ana Rosario Paner. The president also axed Interior Secretary Ismael Sueno due to corruption allegations involving the country's purchase of fire trucks from an Austrian firm. On the eve of International Human Rights Day, militant group Karapatan stages a cooking protest dubbed What's Cooking in Malacanang. The demonstration held in Mendiola this morning featured what the group calls Duterte's recipes for a fascist dictatorship. There's the Digong's Dinuguan, Pasta Pasista, and Papaitang Buhay. The group says the recipes describe the human rights situation in the country. Karapatan says Mr. Duterte is a wannabe dictator, citing his policies including the drug war and martial law in Mindanao. Another protest also in Mendiola. The Salinlahi Alliance for Children's Concerns held its annual Solidarity Action. The group is criticizing the president's, quote, all-out bombing of Lumad communities and mass killings in the name of the war on terror and drugs. Former Health Secretary Janette Garin is being accused of conspiring with pharmaceutical company Sanofi Pasteur to hastily implement the dengue vaccine program. Now, tens of thousands of children are at risk, with the government launching multiple investigations on the controversy. Our Rex Remitio reports.
When CNN Philippines visited 9-year-old Reyna Rose Beltran in her home in Caloocan on Friday, she was sick. Her parents say since Reyna Rose was vaccinated with Dengvaxia in August, she's been having frequent fever, headaches, joint pains, and nausea. When she was brought by her mother to a hospital in Manila Friday night, Reyna Rose tested positive for dengue.
Talagang sobra-sobra yung pag-aalala ko sa anak ko. Sobra-sobrang takot na kung ako lang ang papipiliin, sana hindi ko na lang siya pinabakunahan, hindi ko na lang siya pinayagan.
Doctors have yet to determine if Reyna Rose is experiencing severe dengue and needs blood transfusion. She never had dengue before, and her parents are worried. Dengvaxia maker Sanofi Pasteur earlier revealed children like Reyna Rose who were never exposed to dengue prior to vaccination are at risk of getting a serious disease. They're also concerned with where to get the money for their daughter's hospital expenses.
Ang gusto ko lang po sana mangyari, kung ano po yung maitutulong nila para mapagamot po yung anak ko, yun lang po ang sa akin.
Former Health Undersecretary Ted Herbosa pins the blame on a past health official. Herbosa says former Health Secretary Janette Garin conspired with Sanofi Pasteur to hastily implement the now controversial program. That's after Garin admitted in an interview that she met with Sanofi officials in Paris, France in May 2015.
What is obvious is there is collusion between the Philippine government, headed then by the Secretary of Health Garin, and the manufacturer of the vaccine, Sanofi Pasteur.
Herbosa also denies Garin's claim he and Garin's predecessor, Health Secretary Enrique Ona, were involved in the vaccination plan. He says they were kept in the dark since they disagreed with Garin's plan. For one, the Dengvaxia was still on its phase 3 of development stages, meaning it was undergoing clinical trials.
Pupunta pa siya sa tinatawag na phase 4 or physician-supervised implementation. At bago siya ma-include sa tinatawag na National Drug Formulary yun ay mga gamot na pwedeng bilhin ng ating pamahalaan na pwedeng ibigay sa ating mga mamamayan.
He believes Garin is criminally liable for the Dengvaxia mess, as there was an intentional negligence on her part. Rex Remitio, CNN, Philippines.
Garin has yet to comment on the allegations, but she earlier said she is ready to face any probe on the Dengvaxia issue. Our chief correspondent Pio Ontiveros spoke with Senator J.V. Ejercito, chairperson of the Senate Health Committee, which will look into the Dengvaxia controversy. He says he will focus on two things: the procurement process and the health risks.
Well, because there are information that we have received that it was done, that it might have been done in haste, no? Because it was approved on December 22 of 2015, and the SARO was already issued on December 28, no? Prior to the 2016 elections, no? So I think the crucial thing in this hearing, in this probe, will be the timelines, no? And that way I would want to look into. I'm appealing to everybody, especially those who are not in authority, no? Let the experts, let the medical experts speak on the issue, because it is causing further panic. And the one good news also, Pia, is that on December 12, the day after, World Health Organization officials will be meeting with me at the Senate office to discuss on how to move forward, and probably they can already give feedback as to how the vaccine is being implemented in other countries, and whether there are adverse effects on those who were vaccinated.
The health department says it will demand for a refund from Sanofi for the 3.5 billion pesos worth of Dengvaxia. It also wants Sanofi to cover the hospitalization of those who will contract severe dengue from the vaccine. Our Joyce Ilas has this report.
9-year-old Reina was vaccinated with Dengvaxia in August this year. She says she never had dengue before.
After 1 week, naramdaman niya yung sakit ng ulo niya matindi, hindi siya makakita. Oo, naglalago yung mata niya, namumutla siya. Masakit daw yung katawan niya, para doon siya nalalata, yung ganun. Tapos yung mga tuhod niya, hindi siya makatayo, parang napopolio.
From August until now, Reina's grandmother Luisa says the child would complain of recurring fever, headache, joint pains, and nausea. Reina's blood pressure is oftentimes low, and her lips would easily bleed. The problem, Luisa says, is they don't have money to have her checked. As a rag vendor, she earns only 100 pesos every day.
Ang lakas-lakas ng bata, napakatalino pa naman, tapos ganyan. Gagawin tayo parang hayop. Nai-injection tayo ng kahit ano na lang mapag-anuan lang. Tama ba yan?
Sanofi Pasteur, the maker of Dengvaxia, earlier reported that the vaccine may eventually cause severe dengue on those who received the vaccine but have not had dengue yet. Health Secretary Francisco Duque confirms on Friday that there has been one confirmed case of a 12-year-old girl from Tarlac who suffered from severe dengue just 3 months after she got her third dose of Dengvaxia.
If you were to take the last date of vaccination, which is like 2-3 months ago, then it's really truly a cause for concern. Are we talking also about the possibility that the dengue vaccine might not be effective?
Duque says the government will demand Sanofi to refund the 3.5 billion pesos spent to buy Dengvaxia. The government will also ask Sanofi to set up an indemnification fund to cover the hospitalization and medical treatment of all children who might have severe dengue. Duque says a legal team is also looking at the possible accountabilities of Sanofi.
I've been told that the information, there's a possibility, a strong possibility that they might have not disclose an information with regard to findings of severe dengue reaction.
But for Luisa, what is important now is to ensure how her granddaughter can recover from her current health condition. Joyce Ilas, CNN Philippines.
2 soldiers died and 9 others were injured when their military truck fell off a cliff in Pagadian City last night. Army officials say the truck lost its brakes. They add among the passengers were troopers who got wounded in clashes with New People's Army rebels earlier in the day. The defeat of mounted terrorists in Marawi raises the question of whether there's a need to extend martial law in Mindanao again. Military and police officials believe there is. Our George Cahiles tells us why.
The extension of martial law in Mindanao is necessary. This is the recommendation of both the police and the military ahead of the expiry of martial law in the southern Philippines by December 31. Interior Undersecretary Catalino Cuy says the PNP recommends the one-year extension due to continuing threats from terror groups.
We endorse the recommendation ng PNP for one-year extension ng martial law sa Mindanao, principally due to the existing, may continuing threats pa sa Mindanao from the terrorist groups. And at the same time, it will help, it will hasten the rehabilitation of Marawi City.
The military echoes Cuy's statement, saying that the remnants of ISIS-inspired Mauta Group and other local terror groups continue to recruit members in Lanao del Sur and nearby provinces. The Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters still carry out violent activities in central Mindanao. The Abu Sayyaf group and sympathizers still exist in Basilan, Sulu and Tawi-Tawi provinces, and communist rebels have increased their attacks throughout Mindanao.
Also, increasing violence initiated by the left is something to watch out for and something that we have to prepare for and confront. That's part of the reason why martial law may be needed to cover other areas where potential terrorists are in hiding.
The recommendations of both the PNP and the AFP have been submitted to the President. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says President Duterte is expected to ask Congress by December 15 whether to extend or to lift martial law. If the President decides to ask for an extension of military rule, Senate President Koko Pimentel says he will immediately tackle the matter with his colleagues. Senators Zubiri, Escudero, Villanueva, and Poe wish to hear a security briefing from authorities before deciding on a possible extension of martial law. Minority Senators Aquino, Drilon, Ontiveros, Pangilinan, and Trillanes are prepared to oppose any move to extend military rule beyond 2017. Party list Bayan Muna is concerned that extending martial law may lead to more alleged human rights violations in Mindanao. Earlier, House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez told CNN Philippines he preferred martial law to stay in Mindanao until the end of the president's term in 2022. George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.